So, hello everyone. I'm Akshya, currently pursuing my BTech third year in the Department of AID in Kaitu Men's College. So, I'm going to present my AI chatbot project. So, this is a web-based conversational assistant developed using the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Python, Flask, SQL database, and mainly the Google Gemini API key. So, the main objective of this project is to provide users with an interactive chatbot that can answer the questions and maintain conversation history. So, here you can see the project interface. On the left side, we have some files like API app.y requirements.txt and .env. So, let me elaborate it more clear to you. So, the templates folders contains the HTML files responsible for the web layout, and the static folder contains the CSS and the JavaScript files, and CSS handles the styling while JavaScript manages the dynamic behavior of the chatbot. The services folder contains the Gemini API integration, and the database folder manages SQLite operations. Yeah, app.py is the main Flask application that connects every component together. Okay, now let me explain how the chatbot works. When the user enters a message, JavaScript captures the input and sends it to the Flask backend using an HTTP request. So now Flask receives the request and forwards the prompt to the Gemini API key. And this Gemini processes the user's question and generates an intelligent response. So then Flask stores both the user's message and AI response inside the SQLite database before sending the response back to the front end. Finally, the JavaScript displays the response instantly inside the chat window. So in the style.css code, we can observe some of the CSS for some parts of the output, like sending messages and deleting conversations for the old chats, and the history bar, and like the conversation hover, conversation active, and conversation delete chat bin. So let's move into the next step. Now I'm explaining the backend code. So Flask is responsible for routing requests between the front end, the Gemini API, and the database. So it receives incoming requests, processes them, stores the chat history, and returns the JSON responses to the front end. And moreover, SQLite used because it is lightweight, easy to use, and doesn't require a separate database server. So yeah, we next moving into the .env file, and we can observe here the Gemini API key. So I took this Gemini API key from the Google AI Studios, and at the bottom of that page we can observe that key symbol. So there I clicked and uh, gave to the system to create a new API key. So it generated a new API key. So the JavaScript file controls almost all the front end interactions, and the function named the select conversation is used wherever the user clicks an existing conversation. So first of all, it highlights the selected conversation, then it hides the welcome screen and opens the chat area. So after all this, it clears any previous messages and displays a typing indicator while loading the conversations. The backend returns all the stored messages in JSON format. JavaScript converts the JSON data into objects and loops through every message. So finally, it creates the chat bubbles dynamically and displays them inside the chat window before automatically scrolling to the latest message. So now let's run this project. So we'll next run this commands in the terminal to get the output of this whole project. So we'll just give the Python app.py. So it will generate a link. Then it will be followed to the main output page. So let me show you. So here we can observe the front end page, and the HTML creates the structure of the web page, and the CSS provides the modern design, dark theme, and the responsive layout, buttons, icons, and the chat bubbles. JavaScript connects the front end with the Flask backend without refreshing the page, making the application faster and more interactive. So now overall the workflow is all simple. So as we can observe that uh, user gives the prompt, JavaScript sends it to the Flask forwards it to the Gemini API, Gemini generates an AI response, Flask stores both the question and the response inside SQLite and sends the response back to the front end, where it is displayed instantly to the user. So here we can observe the response we got after all these process. So after scrolling down, we can observe that the response can be copied and can be shared too. So when we click the new chat, the old chat will be stored in the history and the new chat will be opened. So here we can observe that the old conversations in the history can be deleted too. So in conclusion, this project demonstrates the integration of the front-end development, back-end programming, artificial intelligence, and database management into a complete web application. Through this project, I gained practical knowledge of Flask, JavaScript, REST APIs, SQLite, and AI integration using the Gemini API. So, thank you.